They injured his buddy in training. The Death World girl returned with. The medical bay's sterile lights hummed softly as Jake Morrison sat beside his best friend's bed. Tyler Brooks lay unconscious, his left arm wrapped in a regeneration cast, bandages covering the cuts on his face. The steady beep of the medical monitor was the only sound, breaking the silence. Jake rubbed his tired eyes. He'd been sitting here for 6 hours now, ever since the training accident. Accident. That word made his jaw clench with anger. He knew the truth, even if the station security refused to see it. It had happened during the zero-gravity engineering exercise. Tyler and 15 other students from different species were working on building a small satellite in the training dome. The exercise was meant to teach them how to handle delicate equipment in space conditions. Tyler had been so excited about it that morning, talking about the design plans over breakfast in their shared quarters. Jake had watched the whole thing happen through the observation window. He had finished his medical training class early and came to see how Tyler was doing. That was when he saw Zixthar floating near the support cable controls. Zixthar was a Velcrin, a species that looked somewhat like tall lizards with blue and silver scales. His family was important in the Galactic Council. His father was a senior diplomat, and his mother served on the education board. Zixthar never let anyone forget about his family's status. From the observation deck, Jake watched as Zixthar's hand moved across the control panel. The movement was quick and deliberate. Seconds later, the support cable that Tyler was anchored to suddenly released. Tyler went spinning through the zero-gravity space, unable to control his direction. He crashed into the metal framework of the satellite structure at high speed. The other students had screamed. Instructors rushed to stop the simulation and restore gravity. Tyler fell 10 feet when gravity returned, landing hard on the padded floor. But the padding was not enough to prevent broken bones and a serious head injury. Jake had run to the training dome immediately. By the time he arrived, medics were already loading Tyler onto a stretcher. Zixthar stood to the side, his face showing no concern at all. "Humans are so fragile," Zixthar had said loudly to another Velcrin student. "Perhaps they are not suited for real space work." Jake wanted to punch him right then, but he was training to be a medic. He went with Tyler to the medical bay instead, holding his friend's hand as they transported him. The station security chief, a Benvari named Captain Doran, interviewed everyone who witnessed the incident. Jake told him exactly what he saw, but Zixthar claimed it was purely accidental, that he was adjusting his own safety line when he bumped the controls. The other students, mostly from powerful families themselves, supported Zixthar's story. No one wanted to accuse the son of a council diplomat. Captain Doran ruled it an unfortunate accident. Case closed. No punishment. No consequences. That was 3 hours ago. Jake had sent one message since then, using his personal communicator. The message was short and went to someone who was currently on a field assignment 2 star systems away. "Kira, it's Jake." "They hurt Tyler in training, the Velcrin kid." "They're calling it an accident, but I saw what happened. Tyler's in bad shape. I need you." Kira Vance was another human at the academy, though she was rarely on station. She specialized in survival training and spent most of her time on field assignments, testing equipment in harsh environments. She and Jake had grown up in the same district on Earth, though in very different areas. Jake was from the safe coastal cities. Kira was from the interior zones, the places Earth's government labeled as extreme hazard regions. Earth was what the galaxy called the Death World, a planet so dangerous that the fact humans evolved there at all amazed other species. Extreme weather, deadly animals, poisonous plants, high gravity, and violent natural disasters made Earth one of the most hostile, inhabited planets known to the galactic community. Most humans grew up in the protected city zones where technology kept them safe. But some, like Kira, grew up in the wild zones where humans still lived the old way, adapting to nature instead of controlling it. Jake had only met Kira twice before sending the message, both times briefly when she was between assignments, but he knew her reputation. Everyone at the academy did. She was quiet and polite, but there was something about her that made even the toughest alien instructors nervous. She moved like a predator, always aware of her surroundings, always ready. The medical bay door slid open. Instructor Paloon entered, a gentle Thessian with soft purple skin and kind eyes. She approached Tyler's bed and checked the monitor readings. "No change yet," she said softly. "But the regeneration therapy is working. His bones are healing well. He should wake up within the next day or two." "And his head injury?" Jake asked, his voice rough with worry. "The swelling has gone down significantly. Our scans show no permanent damage." "Your friend is lucky, Jake. Another few centimeters to the left and the impact could have killed him." Lucky. Jake did not feel like Tyler was lucky at all. I know you are upset, Instructor Paloon continued, but you must trust the security investigation. Sometimes accidents simply happen. Jake said nothing. He knew arguing would not help. Instructor Paloon was kind, but she also valued peace and harmony above all else. Pushing the issue would only make things harder for Tyler when he recovered.
After she left, Jake sat in silence again.
Other students had stopped visiting after the first hour. He noticed how they avoided eye contact with him in the hallways now. No one wanted to be associated with the human who might cause trouble for an important family. Jake woke up with his head resting on the edge of Tyler's bed. The medical bay's lights had dimmed for the night cycle, creating soft shadows across the room. He checked his communicator and saw that 14 hours had passed since he sent the message to Kira. Did not expect a response so soon. Her assignment was supposed to last another 3 weeks. The door to the medical bay slid open with a quiet hiss. Jake looked up, expecting to see the night shift nurse. Instead, a figure stood in the doorway, backlit by the corridor lights. Even in silhouette, he recognized her immediately. Kira Vance stepped into the room carrying a small travel pack over one shoulder. She was not tall for a human, but she moved with a controlled grace that made her presence feel larger. Her dark hair was pulled back in a simple braid, and her clothes were practical and worn from fieldwork. There was dust on her boots from whatever planet she had just left. She walked to Tyler's bedside and looked down at him for a long moment. Her expression did not change, but Jake saw something cold settle in her eyes. "Tell me everything," she said quietly. Jake told her the whole story. He described exactly what he saw Zixthar do, how Tyler crashed into the framework, how the security investigation concluded. Kira listened without interrupting, her gaze never leaving Tyler's sleeping face. "Where is Zixthar now?" she asked when Jake finished. "Probably in his luxury quarters in the diplomatic wing. His family arrived this morning to make sure no charges would be filed." Kira nodded slowly. She pulled a chair next to Jake's and sat down, finally looking at him directly. "Did the right thing calling me. Get some sleep. I will watch over him for a while. Kira, what are you going to do?" She gave him a small smile that did not reach her eyes. "Nothing violent if that's what worries you. I am just going to have a conversation with some people." Jake wanted to ask more questions, but exhaustion pulled at him. He trusted Kira. He stumbled back to his quarters and collapsed into bed. The next morning, Jake returned to find Tyler still unconscious but stable. Kira was gone. He found her in the station's main cafeteria, calmly eating breakfast and reading something on a datapad. Several tables of alien students sat at a distance, watching her nervously and whispering. Jake sat down across from her. "Why are they staring at you? Word travels fast on a space station," Kira said without looking up from her reading. "They know I am from Earth. They know what region I am from. They have been looking up information about Death World humans all morning." "What region are you from exactly?" Jake realized he had never asked her directly. "The Cascadian Wilderness?" "Interior Zone 7. She took a sip of her drink. "Do you know what the survival rate is for children born in Interior Zone 7? Jake shook his head. 60% make it to age 10. The ones who survive learn to deal with apex predators, toxic plant life, earthquakes, floods, and temperature swings of 70 degrees in a single day. We do not have the climate control that city zones have." She finally looked up at him. "I grew up hunting animals that could kill a Velcrin with one bite. I learned to read weather patterns to avoid being struck by lightning. I crossed rivers that would sweep away most species in the galaxy." Jake stared at her. He knew Earth's wild zones were dangerous, but hearing it described so calmly was unsettling. "I am not telling you this to scare you," Kira continued. "I am telling you so you understand that what happened to Tyler makes me very angry. But I will not handle this with violence. I have a better way." Before Jake could ask what she meant, Captain Doran approached their table. The Benvari security chief looked uncomfortable, his forearms fidgeting with his uniform. "Miss Vance, I need to speak with you about making threats toward Velcron citizens." Kira raised an eyebrow. "I have not threatened anyone, Captain. I have only requested meetings on this. You sent a message to Zixthar's family requesting a formal audience. You also filed a petition with the Academy Board for a public demonstration in the training facility." "Yes. Both are within my rights as a student here. I checked the regulations very carefully." Captain Doran's face darkened. "The Velcron family is very concerned about your intentions. Then they should attend the meeting I requested. I promise everything will be completely legal and within Academy safety guidelines." Kira smiled pleasantly. "Unless they have something to hide?" The captain opened his mouth, then closed it again. He turned and walked away quickly. Jake leaned forward, What kind of demonstration? A cultural exchange, Kira said. I am going to teach our Velcron friend about Earth, specifically about how human children are trained. Over the next 2 days, Kira worked quietly but efficiently. She submitted formal requests to the Academy Board citing educational value and cultural understanding. She reserved the same training facility where Tyler was injured.
She reviewed safety protocols and equipment specifications.
Jake watched as more and more students became aware of what was happening. The whispers in the hallways grew louder. Deathworlder, Earth, dangerous, revenge. But Kira never acted threatening. She was polite to everyone she met. She attended her classes when Tyler's condition stabilized. She visited the medical bay regularly, sitting with Tyler and talking to him even though he could not hear her yet. On the 3rd day, Tyler finally woke up. His eyes opened slowly, and he groaned in pain. "Welcome back," Jake said, relief flooding through him. Tyler looked around confused. What happened? The last thing I remember was working on the satellite frame, and then everything went spinning. Zixthar sabotaged your safety line, Jake said bluntly. Tyler's face went pale as the memory came back to him. I thought maybe I made a mistake with the controls. But no, I saw him near the panel right before it happened. The security investigation called it an accident, Jake said bitterly. Of course they did. Tyler tried to sit up but winced in pain. His family probably made sure of that. The medical bay door opened and Kira walked in. Tyler's eyes widened in surprise. Kira? What are you doing here? Your assignment is not supposed to end for weeks. Change of plans, she said simply. She pulled up a chair and sat down. How are you feeling? Like I got hit by a transport shuttle. Tyler managed a weak smile. Thanks for coming back. You're Jake's friend. That makes you my responsibility too. She paused. I need to ask you something. Do you want justice for what happened? Tyler looked between Kira and Jake. What kind of justice? The legal kind. The kind that teaches a lesson without breaking any rules. Kira leaned forward. I have arranged a demonstration for tomorrow in the training facility. Zixthar has agreed to participate. He agreed? Tyler sounded skeptical. Why would he do that? Because I made the invitation public and framed it as a cultural exchange. If he refuses now, it looks like an admission that he deliberately hurt you. His pride will not allow that. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. What exactly is this demonstration going to involve? Kira smiled slightly. Standard Earth training protocols for children. Nothing dangerous by human standards. Everything approved by the Academy Safety Board. Tyler understood first. His eyes went wide and then a grin spread across his face despite his injuries. You are going to make him experience what we go through every day.
Exactly.
The next morning, the main training facility was crowded with students and faculty. Word had spread throughout the entire station. A Deathworld human was challenging a Velcron to some kind of test. No one wanted to miss it. Jake helped Tyler into a hover chair so he could watch from the observation deck. The medical staff had protested, but Tyler insisted he needed to see this. The training floor had been modified overnight. Kira had worked with the facility engineers to adjust the gravity plating, set up obstacle courses, and prepare environmental controls. Everything looked deceptively simple. Just some climbing walls, balance beams, running tracks, and basic equipment. Zixthar arrived with his parents and a small group of Velcron supporters. His father, Ambassador Court Van, was tall even for a Velcron, his scales gleaming with expensive polish. His mother, council member Shira, wore formal robes decorated with family symbols. Kira stood in the center of the training floor, wearing simple exercise clothes. She looked tiny compared to the Velcron family, but her posture was completely relaxed. Ambassador Court Van approached her. My son has agreed to this demonstration to prove there is no ill will between our species. But I must protest the necessity of this spectacle. I appreciate his willingness to participate, Kira said politely. This is purely educational. I simply want to share how humans train our young people. It will help everyone understand our capabilities better. Very well. The ambassador stepped back, though he did not look pleased. A neutral observer had been assigned to monitor the demonstration. Ambassador Talvan was a Minrathi, a species known for fairness and honesty. She had silver skin and 4 eyes that could see in multiple spectrums. She floated above the training floor on her natural anti-gravity ability. The demonstration will proceed under my supervision, Ambassador Talvan announced in her clear voice. All equipment has been inspected and approved. Ms. Vance has submitted detailed safety protocols. Everything complies with Academy regulations. Zixthar stepped onto the training floor. He wore athletic gear that showed off his muscular build. Velcrons were naturally strong. Their species evolved on a planet with lower gravity than Earth. He looked confident, almost smug. "Before we begin," Kira said loudly enough for everyone to hear, "I want to explain what you are about to see. On Earth, children as young as 6 years old complete training similar to this. It is considered basic physical education in our schools." Murmurs spread through the watching crowd. 6-year-old humans? "The first exercise is simple," Kira continued. "We will adjust the gravity to Earth standard, which is 1.0 gravities. Then Zixthar will complete a basic running course. 2 kilometers at a moderate pace." She looked at Zixthar. "Are you ready?" He nodded, still looking confident. Kira signaled to the control booth. The gravity plating hummed as it increased from the station's standard 0.8 gravities to 1.0. Zixthar's knees buckled slightly. He caught himself, but Jake could see the strain on his face immediately. 1 full gravity was 25% heavier than what Velcrons were used to. "You may begin whenever you are ready," Kira said. Zixthar started running. Within 50 meters, his breathing became labored. The watching crowd grew silent. This was supposed to be the easy part, just running. But the Velcron was already struggling under the increased weight. Another human student, Lisa Grant, stood near Jake and Tyler. She spoke quietly to the alien students around her. "I ran 2 kilometers this morning before breakfast. In Earth gravity. It is part of my normal routine." The alien students looked at her with new understanding in their eyes. Zixthar completed 1 kilometer before he had to stop and rest. His scales were darker with exertion and he was breathing heavily. "Take your time," Kira called out. "We have all day. Human children usually complete this in under 12 minutes, but you are not trained for Earth conditions." The watching crowd shifted uncomfortably as Zixthar struggled through the 2nd kilometer. His confident stride had turned into a labored jog, then a heavy walk. Sweat equivalent dripped from his scales. When he finally crossed the finish line, he bent over with his hands on his knees, gasping for air. A full medical team stood ready at the side of the training floor. Medic Sauron, a Thessian with extensive experience, monitored Zixthar's vital signs on a portable scanner. "His heart rate is elevated, but within safe limits," Sauron announced. "He is experiencing normal fatigue. No danger." Kira walked over to Zixthar with a bottle of water. "Well done. That was the warm-up exercise. Would you like to continue, or would you prefer to stop here?" Zixthar's head snapped up. His pride flared in his eyes. "I will continue." "Excellent." Kira gestured to the next section of the course. "The next exercise involves climbing. This wall is 5 meters high with standard grips. Human children complete this climb as part of their physical education classes. The goal is to reach the top, ring the bell, and climb back down safely." She paused and looked at the crowd. For context, I should mention that human children often climb trees much higher than this during recreational play. This is actually quite safe by our standards. Lisa spoke up again from the observation deck. "My little brother is 7 years old. He climbs the wall at our school gym that is 8 meters high. He races his friends to see who can do it fastest." The alien students around her looked shocked. A 7-year-old human child climbing 8 meters for fun? Zixthar approached the climbing wall. In normal station gravity, this would be simple for a Velcron. Their species was naturally good at climbing, but in Earth gravity, every movement required $20.05 more effort. He started up the wall. His arms shook with the effort of pulling his heavier body upward. Halfway up, he had to stop and rest, clinging to the grips. The watching crowd was completely silent now. "You are doing great," Kira called up encouragingly. "Remember to use your legs to push, not just your arms to pull. That is what we teach the children." Zixthar made it to the top and rang the bell with a trembling hand. The climb down was even harder. His arms were exhausted, and controlling his descent in the higher gravity proved difficult. He nearly fell the last meter, but caught himself. When his feet touched the ground, he collapsed to his knees, breathing hard. Ambassador Court Vance stood up in the observation area. "This has gone far enough. My son has proven his good faith." "With respect, Ambassador," Kira said calmly, "we are only halfway through the basic course." "But if Zixthar wishes to stop, that is entirely his choice. No one is forcing him to continue." She looked at Zixthar directly. "Human children complete all of these exercises, not just some of them. But you are not a human child. You are a grown Velcron adult, It is perfectly acceptable to admit that your species has different capabilities. The challenge in her words was clear. Zixthar could quit now, but everyone watching would know that a human child could do what he could not. Zixthar pushed himself to his feet, swaying slightly. What is next? Balance and coordination? Kira pointed to a series of narrow beams set at different heights. Walk across each beam without falling. If you fall, the safety nets will catch you, and you simply try again. Human children practice this to develop body awareness and control. The beams were only 10 centimeters wide. In station gravity, walking across them would require focus but was not too difficult. In Earth gravity, maintaining balance with the extra weight was significantly harder. Zixthar stepped onto the first beam. He made it 3 steps before his balance failed and he fell into the safety net below. He climbed out and tried again and again. On his 4th attempt, he made it across the first beam. There were 5 more beams of increasing difficulty. An hour passed, then 2. The watching crowd remained silent, witnessing something they had never expected. The arrogant Velcron student was being systematically humbled, not through violence or cruelty, but through simple demonstration. Kira never mocked him. She offered water breaks. She gave genuine encouragement. She explained proper techniques. She treated him exactly like a patient instructor would treat any struggling student. Humans are not built like Velcrons, she explained to the crowd during one of Zixthar's rest periods. We are not as naturally strong. We cannot see in the dark as well. Our sense of smell is weaker. But we evolved on a planet that tried to kill us every single day. So we adapted. We became persistent. We learned to endure. We developed the ability to keep going even when everything hurts. She looked at Zixthar, who was sitting on the floor exhausted. What you are experiencing right now is what human children experience during normal play and education. The gravity you find crushing is what we live with every moment. The exercises you find extremely difficult are what we consider basic. Derek Stone, another human student, called out from the observation deck. Kira, should I tell them about the advanced courses? Not yet, Kira said with a slight smile. Let's not overwhelm everyone. But the damage was done. The alien students began whispering frantically. Advanced courses? This was the basic level? Zixthar finally looked up at Kira. His scales had lost their gleam, and his whole body shook with exhaustion. But there was something different in his eyes now. The arrogance was gone, replaced with understanding. I cannot complete the course, he said quietly. I am sorry. I thought humans were weak because you were smaller than us. I thought your light bones meant you were fragile. I was wrong. Kira walked over to Zixthar and offered him her hand. He took it, and she helped him to his feet. The crowd watched in silence as the small human steadied the much larger Velcron. You are not weak for struggling with this, Kira said clearly, making sure everyone could hear. You are simply not adapted for Earth conditions, just as I would struggle on your homeworld with its lower gravity and thinner atmosphere. Different does not mean better or worse. It just means different. She turned to address the entire crowd. But there is something important everyone needs to understand. When humans come to places like this station, we are constantly working against gravity that feels light to us. Our muscles do not work as hard. Our bones carry less weight. We adapt to your environments. We make ourselves weaker to fit in with you. Lisa stood up in the observation deck. The station gravity is 0.8. Every day we spend here, we lose muscle mass and bone density. We have to exercise twice as hard just to stay healthy. What feels normal to you is actually making us weaker. Jake saw understanding dawn on many alien faces. They had never thought about it that way before. Ambassador Tilevan floated down to the training floor. Miss Vance, I believe your demonstration has accomplished its educational purpose. Does anyone dispute this? She looked around at the crowd. No one spoke. Zixthar took a shaky breath and raised his voice. I need to say something. To everyone here. The crowd leaned forward. 3 days ago, I caused an accident in this training facility. I told myself it was not my fault. I told myself that Tyler Brooks was simply too fragile for space work. He paused, struggling with the words. But the truth is that I was careless. I was arrogant. I did not respect the safety protocols because I did not respect humans. His parents looked uncomfortable, but they did not stop him. Today I learned what humans endure every day just to exist. The pain I feel right now from 2 hours of exercise is what they live with constantly in their natural environment, and they do not complain. They do not ask for special treatment. They simply adapt and work harder. Zixthar turned to face the observation deck where Tyler sat in his hover chair. Tyler Brooks, I am truly sorry for my carelessness. I am sorry for your injuries. I am sorry for dismissing your abilities. I was wrong about humans. I was wrong about you. Jake looked at Tyler, wondering what his friend would do. Tyler maneuvered his hover chair to the edge of the observation deck so everyone could see him clearly. His arm was still in the regeneration cast, and bandages covered his healing injuries. I accept your apology, Tyler said. His voice was weak but steady. What you did was dangerous and careless. But I believe you understand now why it was wrong. I believe you will be more careful in the future. Ambassador Courtvan stepped forward. My family will cover all medical expenses for Tyler's treatment and recovery. We will also make a donation to the Academy's Safety Improvement Fund. This should never have happened. Councilmember Shira nodded. We will also propose new protocols to the Academy Board. Each species should have their own safety standards based on their physical capabilities. What is safe for a Velcron may not be safe for a human, and vice versa. Instructor Paloon, who had been watching from the back, came forward. That is an excellent suggestion. We should have implemented such protocols long ago. The Academy has failed to recognize that true equality means respecting differences, not pretending they do not exist. Over the next few days, things changed at the Academy. Zixar became a vocal advocate for better safety measures. He attended study groups with human students, asking questions about Earth and its conditions. He helped other aliens understand why humans moved and acted the way they did. The other students stopped avoiding Jake. Instead, they asked him about Earth's dangers and how humans survived them. Some were terrified by the stories. Others were impressed, but all of them gained respect. Tyler recovered quickly with the advanced medical treatment. Within a week, he was out of the hover chair. Within 2 weeks, the regeneration cast came off. The doctor said he would make a full recovery with no lasting damage. On Tyler's first day back in classes, Zixar was waiting outside the engineering lab. The two stood facing each other awkwardly. I brought you something, Zixar said. He handed Tyler a datapad. It is a new safety protocol design I have been working on. It includes warnings specifically for equipment that might be dangerous to humans or other species with different physical capabilities. I hoped you might review it and tell me if I missed anything. Tyler took the datapad and looked through the designs. This is really good work. The warning system is clear and the automatic adjustments make sense. He looked up at Zixar. I would be happy to help you refine it. Thank you. Zixar hesitated. Would you also be willing to explain more about Earth engineering principles? I realized I have much to learn from human approaches to problem solving. Sure. Jake and I usually study in the library after dinner. You can join us if you want. That evening, Jake watched in amazement as Tyler and Zixar sat together sharing notes and discussing engineering concepts. A week ago, this seemed impossible. Now it felt natural. Kira prepared to return to her field assignment. Jake walked with her to the transport dock. Thank you, he said, for everything. For coming back. For handling it the way you did. Violence is easy, Kira replied. Teaching someone to understand takes more work, but the results last longer. Zixar will remember this lesson. He will teach it to others. That creates more change than any punishment would. Where did you learn that approach? Kira smiled slightly. From living in a place where every mistake could kill you, you learn quickly that the goal is not to destroy threats, but to understand them and find ways to coexist. Earth taught me that lesson long before I ever left the planet.